Have you ever wondered what would happen if an entire village just vanished from history, only to reappear centuries later with technology that shouldn't exist? What I'm about to tell you will challenge everything you think you know about time, reality, and the hidden corners of our world that governments desperately want to keep secret. In the remote mountains of Eastern Europe, there exists a place that cartographers refuse to map, historians won't acknowledge, and physicists claim is impossible. The locals call it Kronos Valley, and according to witnesses who stumbled upon it, this village holds the key to humanity's greatest dream and darkest nightmare, the ability to travel through time itself. But this isn't some fantasy tale or science fiction story. This is about real people, real documentation, and real evidence that suggests we're living in a world far stranger than we've been led to believe. And by the end of this investigation, you'll understand why powerful forces want this information buried forever. The first recorded encounter with Kronos Valley happened in 1847, when a British cartographer named Edmund Blackthorne was mapping the remote regions of what is now Romania. His expedition journal, discovered in 2003 in a London archive, contains entries that read like something from a fever dream. Blackthorne wrote about finding a village that seemed frozen in medieval times, yet possessed mechanical devices that defied all known engineering principles of his era. According to his detailed sketches and notes, the villagers demonstrated machines that could project images of the past and future with perfect clarity. They showed him events from his own childhood that no one else could have known about, and more disturbing still, they accurately predicted his death, which occurred exactly as foretold 3 months after his return to London. What makes Blackthorne's account particularly compelling is his reputation. He was a respected member of the Royal Geographic Society, known for his meticulous documentation and scientific approach. His maps were used by the British military for decades, and he had never shown any signs of mental instability or tendency toward fabrication. Yet his superiors classified his final report and removed all references to Kronos Valley from official records. The next documented encounter occurred during World War II, when a German reconnaissance unit stumbled upon the village while fleeing Allied forces. Their radio operator, Hans Mueller, managed to transmit a partial message before communication was permanently lost. The intercepted transmission, which Allied codebreakers preserved in classified files, described impossible architecture and inhabitants who seemed to know about future military operations with unsettling accuracy. What happened to that German unit remains a mystery, but local resistance fighters reported strange phenomena in the area for months afterward: unexplained lights, temporal distortions where watches would run backward, and sightings of people wearing clothing from different historical periods, all walking together as if it were perfectly normal. The most detailed modern account comes from Dr. Elena Vasquez, a quantum physicist who claimed to have spent 3 days in Kronos Valley in 1987. Her testimony, given to a select committee of scientists before her mysterious disappearance, provides our clearest picture of how the village's time travel technology actually works. According to Vasquez, the villagers don't use machines in any conventional sense. Instead, they've developed a deep understanding of what they call temporal resonance, the natural rhythms that govern the flow of time itself. Through meditation techniques passed down through generations and the use of crystalline formations found only in their valley, they can synchronize their consciousness with different temporal frequencies. Vasquez described witnessing villagers literally phase in and out of existence, traveling to different time periods as easily as we might walk between rooms. She observed them returning from journeys to the past with historically accurate artifacts and knowledge of events that hadn't yet been discovered by mainstream archaeology. More unsettling still, she met villagers who claimed to be refugees from various future timelines, each bringing warnings about potential catastrophes that could befall humanity. The village elder, whom Vasquez identified only as a timekeeper, allegedly told her that Kronos Valley existed outside normal temporal flow, a pocket of reality where past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. The villagers weren't just traveling through time, they were guardians of it, carefully monitoring the timeline to prevent paradoxes that could unravel reality itself. But perhaps the most shocking revelation from Vasquez's account was the timekeeper's claim that Kronos Valley wasn't unique. According to this ancient figure, similar temporal refuges existed throughout history, hidden communities that had mastered time travel and use their knowledge to guide human development from behind the scenes. The rise and fall of civilizations, major technological breakthroughs, even the outcomes of wars, all allegedly influenced by these temporal guardians working to maintain what they call the prime timeline. The implications of this revelation are staggering. If true, it would mean that human history isn't the result of random chance and individual choices, but rather a carefully orchestrated sequence of events designed to lead us towards some predetermined future. The timekeeper warned Vasquez that humanity was approaching a critical juncture, a point where our technological development would either lead to transcendence or total annihilation, and the temporal guardians were preparing for their final intervention. What makes Vasquez's account particularly credible is her background and the aftermath of her testimony. She was a respected researcher with multiple published papers on temporal mechanics and quantum field theory. Her colleagues describe her as brilliant but skeptical, someone who demanded rigorous proof for any extraordinary claims. Yet after her return from Kronos Valley, she became obsessed with warning others about what she called the temporal war, a conflict between different factions of time travelers fighting for control over humanity's future. 6 months after giving her testimony to the scientific committee, Vasquez vanished without a trace. Her laboratory was found completely empty, as if she had never existed. All records of her employment at the university disappeared overnight, and her colleagues began claiming they had never heard of her. The only evidence of her existence was a classified recording of her testimony, which itself was nearly destroyed in a mysterious fire that consumed the entire government archive where it was stored. This pattern of evidence disappearing and witnesses vanishing is consistent across all documented encounters with Kronos Valley. It suggests a coordinated effort to suppress information about the village and its inhabitants. But who has the power to orchestrate such comprehensive cover-ups, and why are they so desperate to keep this knowledge hidden? Some researchers believe the answer lies in the temporal accords, alleged agreements between world governments and the time travelers of Kronos Valley. According to this theory, sometime in the early 20th century, major powers discovered the existence of these temporal refugees and negotiated treaties to keep their presence secret in exchange for limited access to future knowledge. This would explain how certain scientific breakthroughs seemed to appear decades ahead of schedule during the mid-1900s, and why some historical events unfolded in ways that seemed impossibly fortunate or convenient for specific nations. The development of nuclear weapons, the space race, even the creation of the internet, all potentially guided by information leaked from future timelines through carefully managed channels. But if such agreement exists, they may be breaking down. Recent years have seen an increase in unexplained temporal anomalies worldwide, clocks running backward in certain locations, people experiencing vivid memories of events that never happened, and archaeological discoveries that predate known history by impossible margins. Some theorists suggest these are signs that the temporal war Vasquez warned about has begun in earnest. The most compelling piece of physical evidence supporting the existence of Kronos Valley is the Blackthorn crystal, an artifact supposedly brought back by the original expedition in 1847. This palm-sized crystalline structure was kept in the private collection of the Blackthorn family until 2019. It was finally submitted for scientific analysis following the death of Edmund's last living descendant. The results of that analysis have never been officially published, but leaked reports suggest the crystal exhibits properties that mainstream physics cannot explain. When exposed to electromagnetic fields, it allegedly produces temporal distortions measurable by atomic clocks, and spectral analysis reveals elements that don't appear on the periodic table. Most disturbing of all, researchers claim the crystal seems to resonate with the brainwaves of anyone who touches it, producing vivid visions of possible futures. These visions follow a consistent pattern across all test subjects. They show a world transformed beyond recognition, where humanity has either achieved perfect harmony and technological transcendence, or descended into a post-apocalyptic nightmare of temporal chaos and reality collapse. The common factor in all positive timeline visions is the presence of the temporal guardians, suggesting that the fate of our species may indeed depend on these mysterious protectors of time. But accessing Kronos Valley remains nearly impossible for outsiders. The few expeditions that have attempted to find it using Blackthorn's original coordinates have reported devastating failures. Search parties experience severe temporal disorientation, with team members aging at different rates or memories becoming scrambled between past and present. Most expeditions are forced to retreat within hours, and those that persist report that the valley itself seems to shift location, always staying just beyond reach. This defensive capability suggests that the villagers of Kronos Valley possess technology far beyond simple time travel. They appear to have mastered the manipulation of space-time itself, creating a mobile pocket dimension that can relocate anywhere on Earth or perhaps even outside normal reality entirely. Such power would make them virtually unstoppable if they chose to intervene directly in world affairs. Yet they remain hidden, working only through subtle influence and carefully selected contacts. The question that haunts researchers is whether this restraint will continue. The Timekeeper's warnings about approaching catastrophe suggest that humanity may be running out of time to solve its own problems. Climate change, nuclear proliferation, artificial intelligence development, and social collapse. Any of these could trigger the kind of timeline disruption that would force the temporal guardians to abandon their policy of minimal intervention. Recent satellite imagery of the Carpathian Mountains has revealed anomalous energy signatures that appear and disappear without explanation, suggesting increased activity in the region where Kronos Valley is believed to exist. Amateur radio operators report strange transmissions on forgotten frequencies, messages in languages that don't exist but somehow feel familiar to anyone who hears them. Perhaps most telling of all, governments around the world have quietly increased security measures around certain historical sites and research facilities, as they're preparing for something unprecedented. The Vatican has sealed access to portions of its secret archives without explanation, while major tech companies have suddenly redirected massive resources toward temporal research projects they refuse to acknowledge publicly. All of these signs point to a revelation that could fundamentally change human civilization. The existence of Kronos Valley and its temporal guardians represents more than just a scientific discovery. It's proof that our understanding of reality itself is incomplete. We're not alone in the universe of time, and the choices we make in the coming years may determine whether these hidden protectors reveal themselves as saviors or judges. The unseen village that invented time travel isn't just a mystery to be solved. It's a mirror reflecting the true nature of our existence. We live in a world where the impossible is real, where the future is already known by those with the wisdom to see it, and where the fate of everything we hold dear rests in the hands of guardians we've never met but who know us better than we know ourselves. As we stand at this crossroads in human history, perhaps it's time to ask not whether Kronos Valley exists, but whether we're ready for the truth it represents. Because ready or not, the temporal guardians are watching, waiting, and preparing for the moment when humanity must finally face its destiny among the infinite possibilities of time itself.